I don't know how to sit on a couch and film because I feel very like professional, but I'm really not professional. So we're gonna see how this goes. I've tried to film this a couple of times. I filmed this whole video. I've been wanting to do a live update and I filmed it back in February or like the end of January. And then I started editing it and then I never posted it. And then I said I was gonna post it and then the coronavirus happened. Then I was like, crap, I need to just redo the whole video. And I was thinking maybe I shouldn't post it, but I just feel like something inside of me is telling me I need to share this. I don't know if it's the Lord being like, you have a tiny little platform, tiny, barely there platform. So like, why not try to make use of it and share what's been going on? So here we go. Last time I did this, I did my makeup while I talked to the camera, but this time I clearly did my makeup and maybe this will be a shorter video, but we'll see because I can talk and ramble and just need to remind myself to look at the camera and not at myself because I know I look so good right now. Just kidding. Well, this is a long update. Like, I'm going to be talking about things that happened last year and how I'm here where I am right now. This is so awkward. Should I like eat something or my hands just need something to do? I don't know. And then I left my blinds. Okay, Sarah, just talk. Okay, I graduated from Auburn University back in December of 2018 with a degree in Industrial and Systems Engineering. War Damn Eagle. That is artwork that I made to show that I graduated from this awesome school. Awesome-ish school. We're not gonna get into that. So I got a job right out like before graduating, I had a job offer and that was my only job offer. I was very iffy about it, but then I'm not the smartest cookie in the world and I'm not just saying that to be like humble, like, oh my god, no, I need straight A's, but I'm really not that smart. No. I really wasn't smart. I don't know what it's like to have a 3.5 GPA in college. Just throwing that out there. And I was like wondering, should I take this job? Should I not? And it was like a manufacturing plant, which sounds, I mean, no offense to people who work in manufacturing, but I accepted it. And it was in a small town in Georgia, North Georgia, and I moved to this small town. And it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? I did not like my time in college at all. I didn't like my major. I didn't like the classes. I liked the friends that I made, the -5 friends that I made, and the socializing aspect of it, but the academic part, like I absolutely hated. I would never, ever want to go back to college and like redo that. I would probably have done something different. That's how much I despised it. But I told myself, like, you know what? Well, it's not even I told myself. Everyone told me, it's like, the real world is a lot different than college. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, whatever you learned in college is probably not going to help you, and wherever you end up working, they will train you. Hi, Editing Sarah here, just stepping in. I misworded what I'm saying here. I'm not saying companies are just literally going to overlook the fact that you have a degree and it's completely useless. I'm saying like companies are probably looking for the mindset and the skill set that you gained throughout college. Like, engineering majors will probably think differently than an English major, and science majors are probably going to think differently than a building major. Am I making sense? That's basically what I meant. I'm not saying like companies like don't care about your degree. They're just thinking about the mindset you gained, and you're not necessarily going to have to take derivatives or anything in your job. Making sense? So I was like, okay, that sounds good to me because I don't remember anything that I learned in undergrad. I really don't remember anything that I learned in undergrad. So I accepted this job offer, and it was kind of like a training program, which I liked because when you're in college and then you just jump straight into the real world, I don't know about you, but I feel like I needed like a little transition period just to like, just slowly dip into the real world. So it was like a training program that's supposed to last like about 3 months. And I was like, perfect. You kind of like, you start out as a trainee and then you like apply for full-time positions once the training program's in. And I was like, great. Then like people will actually train me and I will be amazing. Well, I started this training program and it was like a cohort with like about 25 people and they were all super awesome. Like I didn't, I mean, I had a college experience, but I wasn't one of those people. Like, I lived in the dorms 1 year. I wasn't always just doing things with my friends all the time. Like, I didn't have that giant friend group. But here I did. So it was basically, I guess, like another college experience. So we all lived in the same apartment complex. We all did things together. Like, they were awesome. Like, we went skiing together. I mean, I hated skiing, but like, it was a fun time. So we were all assigned to different plants, and my plant was in the middle of nowhere, which was crazy because I already thought I lived in the middle of nowhere, but like, this was literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, when I say small town, I would say like this was a small street. That's how big it was. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I had to commute to work, which sucked. I mean, I don't mind commuting to work, but it's like, it's one thing if you sign up to commute to work, and it's another thing when you don't sign up to commute to work. So I was provided housing for my job, and then we were assigned to a plant. So like, my apartment was not close to the plant. It was 45 minutes away. So already mad about that. But this is a real world. This is what you're supposed to do. So I like sucked it up and started going to work, and I'm not going to give details about the work, but I wasn't like feeling it. But it's one of those things, I just started. I don't know anything, and I'm going to learn because they're supposed to train me. And then I started talking to other people in my cohort who are all assigned to different plants and different people, and they were all saying like theirs was fine, like their boss was nice and everything was cool, like they're getting used to it. Some people had issues in the sense like, oh, mine's a little slow, but like, it's fine. But after 1 or 2 months in, I still wasn't like feeling it. And when I say not feeling it, I was like, I don't like this at all. And the way they like advertised this training program is like, you can kind of figure out what you like and don't like. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of know what I don't like, and I think I know what I like. I'm a very like people-oriented person, and like working in teams and like just being around people and talking, and because I like to talk. So I was thinking like, maybe I could move into like human resources or like marketing or something like that, because they have positions like that. And they told us numerous stories about people who started out manufacturing and then like switched to HR. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally do the same thing. Or like move into marketing, because they have like a couple of marketing positions open. And I was like, I should apply for that, especially since I have like a social media background kind of. So I kind of expressed that to higher ups, because we were told we can, like, if we have any issues, like always come and talk to us, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I have an issue. So I talked to them, and basically that all backfired. I'm giving you like the extremely abbreviated version. Maybe one day I'll like go into deep detail about it, but that's the abbreviated version. And it completely backfired. Basically, it was just better if I left the company altogether. I ended up leaving after 3 months, after the training program was done.
Okay, so I'm watching this and it sounds like I pitched a fit because I didn't get what I wanted and I left. Like, that's not what happened. There was a lot more that went into it. Like, this was a training program and we had like higher ups that we could talk to if we were interested in something else, if we wanted to switch projects. Like, people had done that in the past. So I literally just went through the same process that other people had also gone through, and it just kind of, I don't know why, it just didn't work out. And like, the only option was for me to leave. Like, I would have stuck it out for at least a year otherwise, but since it was a training program, and after the training program I ended up leaving. Like, I'm, like I said earlier, like, giving you the extremely abridged edition of this, but I just want you to know I didn't just go up and quit because I didn't like my job after 3 months. Like,
so it worked out. I mean, like, it wasn't like I left on bad terms or anything. And a lot of people that I still like keep in touch with are still there, and they all seem fine. Like, I might have just been one of those odd people who, I mean, I told y'all I wasn't really into manufacturing from day one.
Sorry to keep butting in like this, but I keep saying manufacturing. I mean engineering. I didn't care for the engineering job. Like, I didn't have a problem with manufacturing. I'm not saying I loved it and I would like to work in a manufacturing plant again, but it was the engineering work here specifically that I had a problem with, not manufacturing. Like you can get an engineering job in any place. Like engineers are required everywhere, not necessarily just in a manufacturing plant. In this particular situation, it was engineering that I had a problem with, not manufacturing. Like if I was doing human resources at this manufacturing facility, I would have been fine. If I was doing marketing for this manufacturing plant, I would have been fine. In this specific situation, it was the engineering that I had issue with. I don't know why it keeps me saying manufacturing and it's arcing. I just had to clarify.
But it sucked in the sense I basically lost my job and I had to move back home to Auburn. And if y'all weren't aware, I went to school in Auburn and I'm also from Auburn. So I just literally moved back in with my parents, and I hadn't lived with my parents in 6 years. I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. So, but I'm also one of those people, I'm not like really a risk taker. So I always had a thing for like art, music, graphic design, photography, fashion, all that stuff. I mean, fashion and like beauty came like gradually in college. That wasn't like an immediate interest back in high school, but I had a thing for like the creative world. But I've been told from a young age that like use your creative interests as a hobby. So, and you're not gonna like, you won't be able to make a career out of that, and you won't have money, and like people end up having to do something else. So I was like, okay, well, I've learned in the last year or so that like I'm not really a risk taker. I was like, well, this makes a whole lot of sense why I did the things that I did, because I wanted to be safe. So I was told, and like doing research and like having guidance from older elders and stuff like that, like engineering was a good route. It's very broad. But like the thing is, I'm not that smart. So I was like, everyone told me the easiest engineering was industrial engineering. And industrial engineers get made fun of all the time. We were told we're the imaginary engineers, the fake ones. And I was like, I don't care if we're called the fake engineers, because I purposely chose the easiest engineering. I don't know if other people will admit that, but I will straight up tell you, I chose industrial engineering because I thought it was the easiest engineering. Like I was like, you can pay me $1 million to go into chemical engineering. Like, no, that was not happening. Or biomedical engineering or something like that. I was like, I'm taking the easy engineering. And Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, also graduated in industrial engineering. So obviously from Auburn. So I was like, obviously this is the right choice. So that's why I did IE. And then like you could do, it was very broad. So you can kind of go into whatever direction you want. So I was like, perfect. Since I don't know what I want to do with my life, this is like a good major for me to kind of figure out what I want to do while I'm in college. And then hopefully have it figured out by the end of college. Well, that wasn't the case. Throughout college, I realized I really didn't like my major, as I said earlier.
And if you're wondering, Sarah, why didn't you just change your major? I realized like 3 years into college when I was a junior that I didn't like it. I thought it was one of those things that was going to get better, but it really just got worse. And 3 years in, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are just like, just change your major. If I looked into other majors, and it would have taken me another additional 4 years to graduate, and I like simply just could not do that. I could not put myself through another 3 or 4 years of school and graduate in 10 years. Like it's just money. You have to take out so many loans for it. It's so expensive. It's so much time. I just could not do that. I was like, I'm going to stick it out. And since I'm getting a degree in industrial engineering, which is very broad, hopefully it won't be too difficult to get a job in something that I like that's not necessarily industrial engineering. Am I making sense?
Now, since I left, I'm giving all this backstory just to like make sense of the decisions that I was making. And I'll tell y'all at the end why I'm sharing all this. So when I graduated, I still didn't know what area I wanted to go into, but now that I like left this job, I was like, maybe I can start looking into other areas again, or I can try to like follow this creative dream of mine. But the only thing is, I guess this is some tips for people. If you have like side hustles and stuff like that that you are interested in, make sure you like separate those interests from engineering or like your actual path, because I tried applying for like makeup related jobs and like fashion related jobs, and when people just see like your engineering experience, they're like, what? So I had to make a couple of resumes that were like tailored towards fashion and graphic design and social media and marketing and stuff like that. Anyways, like I made a bunch of resumes, and like I started applying for jobs all over, and like everyone said, since I have this industrial engineering background, like obviously people are gonna hire me because hi, I'm so smart, I'm an engineer. That was not the case at all. I kind of wish I tallied the number of jobs I applied to because that was 100% not the case. I applied to everything. I applied to things where I was like, okay, this is not really my field, but I think they'll like me because I'm in IE. Like I wasn't being stupid and like I did tell y'all like I was applying for certain fashion jobs and I was stupid and like tried to send my engineering resume. No, I did make those separate resumes for those particular kind of jobs, but like I was applying to jobs that were kind of related and I got rejected by everything. And I was like, why was I told that I was going to get a job and guaranteed a job with my engineering degree? Something's off, right? And it was extremely frustrating because some of these jobs I was like, I definitely have it in the bag, but I got so many rejections and it really like surprised me and shocked me.
Hi, sorry for popping in again. That just made it sound like I was blindly applying to every single job out there. No, no, no. I was using common sense. Like, I would look at a job that was opened, then I would see what qualifications they were looking for, what the job entailed, and if it was something that I would enjoy. And it was something that like I could learn easily. Then I would sit and apply for it. I wasn't just like applying to random jobs. Like, I'm not gonna apply to um, a construction job when I have zero construction experience and my degree does not like go into that. Am I making sense? Like, I know it just sounded like I just blindly applied to everything. You guys are probably thinking, well, Sarah, obviously you didn't get a job because you were applying to things that you weren't qualified for. Like, no, I was looking at the qualifications when I was applying for these jobs. Trust me, like, I wasn't just blindly applying. The only ones that were I was just blindly applying were those fashion related jobs or the marketing related jobs, social media related jobs. And that was what I made those separate resumes for, only putting things on that resume that covered and related to that job description. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense.
And then like in the middle of all this, because I was thinking I could come back home, like everything's gonna be fine. I can move off my parents again, don't have to pay for rent, and like it's gonna be great. But then like other family dramas started happening, other problems that I can't talk about because it's not like about me started happening, and that like affected me and my family like a lot. So in the midst of like having to find a job, I'm also dealing with the stress of family drama. So as you can tell, I was doing fantastic, if you're not picking up on my sarcasm already. But during this time, I do have LinkedIn. So I had like all this stuff on my LinkedIn. Like I updated it with all my job experience, all my side hustles. I was like, I don't care what people think. If a recruiter goes to my profile and they see that I did engineering work and I also have a blog and do freelance photography, they can just deal with it and the job is not meant for me if they have a problem with my creative side. Someone in Auburn saw my LinkedIn profile and they saw that I had this creative background along with my engineering experience and they're like, oh my gosh, like, do you mind working for us because we need someone who has like a creative background and engineering background, and like mixed two, and I was like, this is what I needed. It was a part-time position in Auburn, so I started working for this small consulting firm, and I loved it. I really liked it. It was a small, teeny tiny company, but I liked it, and I had creative control of everything, and it was great. I don't know if my former boss is still watching this, but to this day, I'm very grateful for that job. Anyways, so I worked there for months, but he also, like my boss gave me, like, he knew that obviously this is part-time and I'm a college grad and I do need a full-time job. So I like still continued to apply for other positions. And then I had a couple of interviews here and there. And then I went to some career fairs at Auburn. I went to an engineering fair because, like I said, I'm in this like little crisis. I call it my quarter life crisis. I still think I'm in my quarter life crisis, but I'm in this crisis where I'm just like, oh my gosh, should I quit engineering altogether or should I pursue something else? Because I'm still so young. I'm like, if I get out of engineering so quickly, I feel like I can never go back. Not saying I loved engineering, but you know what I mean? That's like, oh my gosh, once you move out of engineering, you're like, like move out of a field, you're like, can I ever go back to that field? I don't know another field I can compare it to, but that was going through my head. I went to an engineering fair and I went and spoke to a bunch of companies there, and I don't know, I wasn't feeling the vibe from the companies that I talked to. And it's just crazy because we've been told all our lives, like, no one knows what they're doing. Like, everyone understands, like, you're a recent college grad, you're still figuring things out. Well, I talked to a company at that fair and they were like, what are you interested in? I mean, I had like my little script ready to talk about, because when you go to these job fairs, like, you kind of need to have, what's the word? Your pitch? Is that what it's called? Like, you need to have an idea what you're going to talk about and like how to sell yourself in like a sentence. So I had my little pitch and they were like, oh, so are you interested in like manufacturing, or are you interested, I forgot the conversation exactly, but are you interested more in supply chain, or I don't know what the words were. And I was telling them, I was like, well, I have experience in both areas and I'm really open to either. I'm still trying to figure out like what I should do. Well, this woman tells me,
for the future, you should probably figure out what you want to do before you start coming to these career fairs and talking to companies, because you need to know what you want to do with your life.
and I was like, excuse me? Do you think a recent college graduate, or even someone still in college, because these career fairs were targeted to students still in college and about to graduate or looking for internships, do you think that's what someone wants to hear? Like, oh, you need to have your life figured out by the age of 22. Well, I was 23 at the time, or 24. Yeah, I just turned 24. Like, that's not what anyone wants to hear. And I pretty much lost, like, I basically had a mental breakdown at the career fair. I had to go off to a corner and I had to like collect myself, because I was like, I don't know what I want to do and I'm never going to get hired because I don't know what I want to do. Like, no one wants to hear that. So at that moment I was like, you know what? Forget engineering. I'm done. I'm done with engineering. And 2 days later there was the business career fair. So I was like, I'm going to go to the business career fair and hopefully it's a little better. And I went and talked to a bunch of companies again. It was a little better. Some of the stuff they were just like,
this is what we're looking for, and based on your resume, you don't have that, so I don't know why you're here, but we're still going to talk to you because we're nice people.
That's the vibe I got from this fair. But then I talked to one company and they stood out to me and they were really nice and they were impressed that I had engineering background and like also had other experiences, and like they liked my resume, let me put it that way. So I got an interview with them, and it was crazy because it wasn't like I went into this fair wanting to talk to this company, but I did, and I got an interview, and then I got an in-person interview at I got an interview on campus the next day, and then I got like an interview at their office a couple of weeks later, and I ended up getting a job offer, and I was like shooketh to the core. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, I just thought it was gonna be another interview that I could gain experience from, because I literally told all my friends, I was like, yeah, I have an interview today, but like, I don't think anything's gonna happen, but you know, interview practice, hey. So I got a job offer and I ended up accepting it. I thought about it for a little bit because the pay was not like my engineering salary. So that was a little, but I like kind of realized that my happiness is more important than a salary. So I accepted the job and then I moved to Atlanta. This job is actually about 10-15 minutes like north of Buckhead, if you guys are familiar with Atlanta. So I got an apartment like right outside the city, and that's where I am now. And I mean, I like my job, I like the people that I work with, and just fine, and like I think I'm good at the job, and it's like the complete opposite of what I had at my manufacturing job. Like, we work in teams. Whenever I need help, I can ask anyone for help, and if I have questions, like, it's great, and everyone's super supportive, and it's a very like young team and like young people. So everything was going fine, and then the coronavirus happened. And you know, we all kind of thought it was like a joke and stuff like that, and it turns out it wasn't really a joke. And then everything kind of shut down, and then people started dying and all the stuff. I have my thoughts on the coronavirus, which I'm not going to talk about here because that itself could be a whole video. But basically, you could see that it is tanking the economy. I'm filming this in the middle of that. It'll be interesting to watch when this is all over. So I started freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I lose my job? Because literally I lasted 3 months at my job last year. So based on my luck, it'd be hilarious and also terrible if I lost my job 3 months into this job. But I was like, you know what? Everything is fine. Stop worrying. Everything will happen for a good reason. And it's fine. Well, everything wasn't fine. I got furloughed from my job as of like last week. So I'm not getting paid. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't laid off, but I'm not getting paid for X amount of time. Don't know if it's gonna be weeks, months. They said it could be up to like 90 days, which is like, that could mean July. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. It is just crazy. I mean, the furlough thing, it's not like, that's not what I really wanted to talk about. Sorry. I just wanted to talk about how we've all been told things. Like I was told, like if you go down the medical or engineering path, like you're guaranteed success. And like, I get that to a certain extent, but it sounds so dumb, but like your happiness also matters. I mean, like there's certain things, like I'm not saying you have to be like, oh my God, let's go to work. I'm so excited. For me, pay is a big factor. So it's like, if my job is paying me enough money to do what I want to do outside of work, I'm fine with it. But at the same time, like I don't think it's worth going to a job where it's like messing with your mental health and you feel like you can't do it. Making sense? I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, I love my job right now and it's like the best job ever, blah, 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 blah. Like it is my dream. Like, no, I'm not delusional. Like I'm not like working this glamorous job. Like, but I feel like you shouldn't be miserable with your job. And I feel like that's what happened at my previous job. And we're all like faced with these pressures of like following our dreams and then following what society says. And I still like deep in my heart have this passion for like marketing and beauty and makeup and fashion, the cosmetic industry. Like that's all still very much a passion of mine, which is why I started like my Instagram account, my blog. I wanted another creative outlet for me so I wouldn't go insane in college. So that's why I did all that. And I'm not saying like I completely regret doing engineering, but it's just one of those things where I sometimes like, I got the degree. I wasn't a crazy partier. I mean, I did go to parties. I didn't go to parties because I wasn't invited to parties, but I did go out with my friends a lot. It's just crazy because it's like, I didn't like turn to drugs or anything. Like I still went to church every single Sunday because my faith is very important to me. I had a good relationship with my family for the most part. Like I'm glad I didn't live with them, but like we had a good relationship and I don't think I went off the deep end completely. Like, how to put this, like I didn't turn into a drug addict who like failed all my classes. And I mean, I failed a couple classes, but you know what I mean? Like I was a good person. So it just sucked seeing that I did everything right and I followed a traditional career path and I still am struggling. Am I making sense? And I guess my point is like, y'all don't follow that mold. Following a traditional career doesn't always guarantee success. And I'm learning that now. Like a lot of my friends are doing fine and it just sometimes it's hard to watch because it's like, what did I do differently that they did and how come they're doing fine and I'm not doing fine? Which is really hard. Like comparison is the thief of joy. That is something one of my friends said, and it's a saying, like don't compare your life to others, but sometimes I'm just like, it sucks seeing everyone being successful and then you're just like, well, I lost my job again. Life is great. So don't feel that pressure if you're struggling right now to do what society is telling you to do, because I feel like I would have done things differently. And that is why I'm sharing this, because growing up, I was told a bunch of things and then I never really saw what other people were going through. We don't talk about our struggles. I have a blog post all about this. Like we hear about everyone's successes and how so-and-so is doing this in their life and so-and-so is doing that. And like, I'm like, okay, you know what? Screw the success. I mean, don't screw the success. I need to hear people's struggles because I'm over here thinking that I am like struggling and I'm the only one in the world going through all this when that's really not the case. And I really, truly believe I would have done things differently in my life if I'd seen someone else's struggles. if they had shared it. Am I making sense? So that's why I'm hoping sharing my struggle story might help someone who's trying to decide what they want to do with their life, and if they're feeling pressure from parents or family or friends or just whatever, because it sucks. Like, it is very stressful. I'm stressed out right now because I'm just like, well, is this a sign from the Lord saying I should try to pursue my side hustles a little bit more besides my blog and my Instagram and my YouTube channel and all my social media? Or is this the Lord saying just be patient, you will get your job back, you were happy there? It's a weird time, and I just felt like sharing that with you because I don't want people to go through what I went through. Like, I guess it's a good life lesson. It really is, because I went into college out of high school thinking I was hot shit. I was very mediocre in high school, so I don't know why I thought that way, but I was like, oh my gosh, community college is for losers. I'm going to Auburn, this top school. Like, I'm going to engineering. I'm going to be so smart and successful. Like, look at me. And then that is not what happened at all. It really humbled me, like, real quick. I did not like sugarcoat my college experience with people because it was not the best 4 years of my life. It was like the worst 5 years of my life. I'm not saying my life is much better now, but it was just not a fun time. And that whole mindset needs to change. Like, we all don't have, I mean, it's gotten a lot better. People are a lot more real on the internet and people share their struggles. Sometimes I don't think it's authentic, but that's not my place to judge. But since we have YouTube and we have social media is huge, I kind of want to use my platform to share what's happening. And usually I do that more through my blog, but this was something that I felt like needed to go into a video. And I hope this really helps someone who is trying to figure things out, because you're not alone. You are not alone. I've always felt alone. Even now I still feel alone because, I mean, one, I live by myself and I'm quarantined by myself. So all I have to talk to is my camera, pretty much. Like, if you're friends with me on Snapchat, I'm really sorry. I hope this helps someone out. If you're in high school and you're trying to figure out what you want to do and you're feeling pressure, like, think about, do those career tests, like do those aptitude tests or whatever, and see what your interests are. List out your hobbies and like think, what are my strengths and weaknesses? Do that, because it will help you in the long run. Because I actually was never good at math and science. I really sucked at math and science. The only thing I know, it's like I know how to take a derivative, like AP calculus in high school. That's all I remember. I think I only know how to take the derivative and like the simple derivative, not the other complicated stuff, because derivatives, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but you know what I mean? Like, I was not good at math. So I feel like that should have been a red flag. Like, if you're not good at math, then don't go into a math-oriented field. I'm just saying. I mean, granted, I feel like schools could do better with teaching. But this wasn't one of those things where it was like, oh, Sarah, like, you probably didn't try in school. You probably didn't study. That's probably why you think you're bad at math. No. I put my heart and soul and studied and like went for tutoring and all these things, and I still wasn't good at math. I was one of those people who would put 100% into studying, and then my grade would be like a 40%. So it's like, okay, good to see that my studying didn't pay off. I changed up all my strategies, everything. I was not good at math and science, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, I don't really like it either, but I wasn't good at it. My strengths were more into the art field and the music field. Like, I loved band, I loved my graphic design class, I liked my photography class. If there were fashion related classes, I probably would have liked that too. And then I love social media. I love YouTube, and there's so many like people on YouTube that changed my life. Like, I see there one person to this day who I absolutely adore and I've loved since high school is Jenna Marbles. I've always thought she kept it real, and she also talked about in one of her videos, this is a while ago, like, I'm an OG, like, I love Jenna Marbles. If she ever watches my video, just want you to know you are an inspiration to me, because she went into detail about how she was also in this place where it's like she didn't know what she wanted to do. Like, she just wanted to be happy. It wasn't necessarily like climb up to this high level of success. It was just like happiness. And I really felt, I'm not sure if I'm explaining it because I haven't watched the video in a while, but when I saw that video when she talked about it, I was like, oh my gosh, someone relates with me. And I felt really like a lot better about myself hearing someone else talk about it. So I'm hoping I'm doing that for you guys. And that's why I have video ideas in my head and I really want to film them, but I felt like this needed to go out first before I started filming again, because now since I have free time, I have video ideas, and I hope I can actually do it, because while I have this creative outlet and like I love doing things, I'm so like lazy as well. But, like, once my butt sits on the couch or my bed, game over. Nothing's getting done. And last night I went to bed really, really late. When I say really, really late, it was actually like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was planning to film this, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get up. I'm not gonna be able to film. And then here I am, running on like 5 hours of sleep. It's great, but I had to do this. I really hope I help at least one person out if you're struggling. And my DMs are open on Instagram. If you're friends with me on Facebook or whatever, you like my Facebook page, there are different ways to contact me. So like, feel free to like message me. People have messaged me on LinkedIn before. Like, I will link everything down below. If you need someone to talk to, you need some help or inspiration or whatever. I'm not saying I'm a role model in any way, shape, or form, because I am not a role model. But I am someone who likes to keep it real. So if you want to know my opinions, or if you're going through something, I'm willing to listen and share my advice, because mental health is important, and I've learned that I get anxious really, really easily and get really stressed out really easily, and it's not worth it over stuff like this. And you should be happy with what, I mean, like, obviously be like, you can use common sense. So like, if drugs make you happy, you probably need a little help, and you could talk to me about that if you want to, but I don't know if I have expertise in drugs. This took a weird turn. I hope I'm not offending anyone. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and please follow me on all my social media. I am very big on TikTok now, so if y'all want to follow me on TikTok, I will link that down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my blog. Please check out my blog. I'm trying to blog more. Also, that's a site where I try to keep it real there too. And yeah, that's basically it. Bye. I don't know what this is. Bye bye.